Okay, so hi everybody. Here we are again. Here I'm Mother Owl, and this is Monica with her beautiful little granddaughter. She's watching until her daughter gets home. Um, and this is Brielle. Briella. There we go. So there's Briella. Hi, Briella.
Little starseed, Briella.
Look at her. She's going, what the heck is going on? So here we are again, having a live discussion with somebody else who does a lot to help other people with a different type of modality. Again, at the beginning of every one of these, there are people that haven't seen these. So, of course, I kind of give a quick explanation as to what these discussions are about. And the whole idea, of course, is to get information out about the different modalities, because not everybody resonates with one type of service. There's so many out there. So the whole idea is I'm working to get as much information out there to people regarding the different modalities and different things that are available to them in many ways, in order to help them going forward. Because of course the energies out in the collective right now is badly needed. We need to bring that balance back in of energies, and they're so unbalanced right now. So of course, that's what we're doing, all of us together as a team. This is what we do, and this is me just kind of bringing it to a spotlight, with many people and what they do differently. So Monica is a light worker, and she working with the light on the soul level, energy, mind, and body. She uses many modalities to assist people on their soul journey to bring more love, peace, and harmony into their lives. She started on this path and journey doing this type of thing and opening up and kind of awakening as a soul helper at a very young age. Previously, Monica and I had spoken, and it was mentioned that you started your awakening, like in your teens. So it was several years ago. It came very quickly. So maybe you could share a little bit about your humble beginnings and kind of where it started to where you are now, and a little bit in between.
Sounds great. And I just want to first thank you so much, Leah, for having me here today and for doing this for everyone, because then we all get to share ourselves. And when we share, we're like opening up our heart, and other people can receive our message is, our soul's message. And it's great that you're doing this, because it brings people together, and then they can find each other, because that's part of it too, is like finding where people, when they start awakening, they're like, but I don't know where to go for help. And so it's great that you have this, and hopefully we're all beacons of light, and they can find us in the darkness here,
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, as the earth is changing. So I'm just going to have this little one with me for another 10 minutes, maybe. My daughter's studying, and
she's learning too.
She's learning too. She is. And she's a little star seed who brings so much joy. Like, children bring so much joy to our lives, and they also show us where we need to grow and learn too.
Of course.
Yeah, and I believe that all of us were wide awake when we were little, and we all could see other realms, and we could all see energy. And when she looks at me, she's not looking at my face; she's looking all around, and in amazement, right? And children are here to guide us and show us, and there are teachers too, because they're coming with such high frequencies. So they're a blessing. But I remember when I was a child, like, speaking to my spirit guides and angels, and people thought I was crazy, and then you slowly start to, and I think everyone will resonate with this. You start to let that go. You start to let go of your gifts, because you think that you're weird and you're odd, and it's not real. They're imaginary. So you start to let go of these things. And so I suppressed a lot of my gifts and a lot of my talents and abilities that I had when I was young. Like, until then I was a teenager. And I really started awakening when my parents went through a separation and divorce. And I was at that time really angry and in the really dark place, like the dark night of the soul, which at the time I didn't know what the dark night of the soul was. I was just really angry and crying all the time and depressed and suicidal. And having a lot of trouble with school and making friends and just in the wrong crowd, and didn't know where I belonged in the world, didn't fit in this world, just felt like a strange person, you know, no matter what. And the people, when they knew that I had these gifts, they would like basically kind of use use me to get information, like tell me about this. And I would tell them like things and it would happen. Because, you know, I used to have the ability, and I probably still do, but I just don't tap into that. But to their ancestors that are crossed over. I used to see a lot of spirits and talk to them all the time and communicate through, you know, and but I suppressed a lot of that along the way. And then
most do.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, until we are forced. Like basically I feel like spirit was like, no more, like now you need to like help people. You can use this to help people. It's not a curse, it's a gift. This is a gift that you have. And it was when my parents were going through a separation, and I was about 15 at the time. And as my mom was healing her stuff, she started going to meditation classes and I would go with her. My grandmother gave me a book about yoga. So I just started practicing out of this like super old school book written from the 60s and started doing my own yoga. I started reading tarot when I was like 15 years old. We were going to psychic readers when I was 6. This numerologist out in Sheffield. It was a yearly thing that we always did. We would go get our numerology read, and it would be right. It would just be like 5 years after what she had said, but still so accurate. And so this has always been my life. We used to do circles when I was a child. We would play drums and sing songs and like write things and put it in the fire. We created vision boards. Like I remember all these things. So maybe my story is a little bit different than other people where they've had their awakening, you know, in their 20s or 30s. I was raised in I thought that we were indigenous because we worship like the nature. We're in tune with the moon cycle. We're in tune with the seasons. Like we're very shamanic, which I didn't know at the time, you know. And there's like the way my grandmother dresses and acts, and my mom, like, and I told the school that I was indigenous because I thought that we were. I said native because we didn't use that word indigenous back then.
No, it was native. Yeah, I recall. Very much so.
I believe that I was. I thought that I was because that's how I was raised. We were burning sage, like through cleaning the house and like all these things when I was a child. So it's just the way, it was just my normal. But I didn't fit into the rest of the world. And so then because you want to fit in so badly, or I did, I would just suppress everything, or people would like use it and then I wouldn't like that. So I didn't want to be their friend anymore. So it was just, anyways, that's sort of how it came about, like my whole life. But then it really started to like, spirit was like, okay, you got to change your life. And I became pregnant with my son at 21. And the father, his biological dad, didn't want to be any part of it. So I had a choice to make. Stop my party life and suppressing all my gifts, or step into being a mom. And when I made that decision, all of a sudden lights went back on. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm this like vessel of this light inside of my body. And I actually felt the day that his soul entered my body. I started meditating again, doing yoga again. And like, he was like the click to, that's it, let's go. So then I was back on path, and I started, then in 2002, I got my Reiki 1 and then Reiki 2 right away, and then Masters shortly after that. And that was, my mom is my teacher, my Reiki Master teacher. And then after that, there was a group downtown Cambridge. I can't remember what it was called, but I started going to their Friday nights. Every Friday night, they would have an open night where people would come and share their gifts and talk. And it was like this beautiful community. And I met so many spiritual people. And I was like, I found my people. Like, I fit in somewhere.
You know, it's amazing when that happens, right? Yeah, it's funny how the universe works. You know, you slowly start to realize how much you don't jive with those that are around you, and all of a sudden they slowly start to disappear, and then all this other groups of people start to show up, and it's like, oh my God, this is so cool.
It really is. It's amazing. And so then they were my tribe. And, you know, then I learned axiotonal realignment at that time. And then I went and studied complete cellular mind body alignment with Dr. Sharon Forrest. She came to Canada for like a weekend, and I did this retreat, and I received her. It's like kind of like a Reiki ignition, like you get this downloaded into your body, and then you can give this healing to other people. And then after that, I don't remember. I was just also yoga teacher at that time, teaching meditation, coaching people, helping people, you know, just by recognizing their own healing is in their own body, and that they are self-healing. And yes, I'm doing Reiki with you, but you have to do the work. Otherwise, you're just going to be back here again. Right? So with the Reiki is energy and it's light, and same with all the other modalities that I just listed, even yoga, you can show up and do that stuff, but you got to do the work too. You got to meet the person halfway. Can't do the work for you. We got to do our own work. And so then I owned my own business, and I'm also a nurse, by the way. I'm a nurse by day. I went to university because it was another way I can help people. And it was a way where you fit into society. But I would be Reikiing my clients. I help people cross over using Reiki, like, you know, with their soul's permission. Worked with a lot of special needs children who couldn't speak. And I wouldn't even, Reiki would just pour out of my hands into these kids. Like it would just be pouring. I didn't even ask. It's just happening because they needed that light. And I was just a channel of pure light going to these kids. And all my patients.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it pouring out of my heart, you know. And then, I was flying with everything. I was writing a book, and then I landed into this relationship that at the time I thought he was everything to me, for me. And he turned out not to be that. I won't go down that real big rabbit hole, but he was
lessons and more lessons.
Exactly. He was a total narcissist. And along that pathway too, I also had 2 other children with a man, and we didn't stay together either. He was like a musician, and he was in a band, and he just has like really big dreams, and I was supporting his dreams. But along the way, I was exhausted because I wasn't standing in my own truth again. So when you're not standing in your truth, you get really tired. So if people watching this, you're feeling really tired, ask yourself, where are you not in alignment in your life right now? Is it your relationship? Is it your job? Is it just you need to make a huge change all around, right? When you're feeling high vibrational and you're feeling really good all the time, that's because you're in alignment. You're in alignment with your soul. And I was not. So
yeah, we've all been there, I think, at some point or another. I know I redid several lessons several times in the course of a lifetime. So I have no doubt there's probably still some of that going on at times. But as it presents itself.
Because we're imperfect, and we are here to feel, and we are here to learn, and we are here to grow. And every relationship that I've had, I have so much gratitude now, because each one of them taught me something very valuable that I wouldn't have learned on my own. If I had just stayed the course and stayed by myself, I wouldn't have learned the depths of the darkness that I went with that individual. And now, and I always felt like I'm with him for a reason. I'm with him for a reason. There's something really big here. And yes, I got 2 children with him. We created 2 beautiful souls together, but it was deeper than that. And I just kept staying, and the abuse got worse and worse. And then it got to the point where I'm like, okay, like when I had my daughter, the Elizabeth, who's 4 now, it was like a bang. You need to wake up, girl. This isn't good for you or your kids. Let's go and as soon as I made that decision to leave, the universe just went like boom, 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 and everything just lined up for me. I had an apartment. I was on maternity leave. She was only 6 weeks old when I made that decision. So I had no money. Then all of a sudden, when I made that decision, boom, I just got all this money. I got an apartment. I had enough for first and last and some groceries. And then
Manifestation at its best.
It's like the universe was like, hello, she's finally leaving. Let's go. Provide. And it's like, I didn't have to do anything. Everything just fell into place. People were like, I'll help you move. I got a truck. I'll help you move. It was amazing. So I left, and then I went into another dark night of the soul, another awakening. I believe like more awakening is like layers, of awakening. And I still have many layers to go. Right when we think we know everything, we really don't know anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. But in that moment, that's when I found quantum healing. And I would sit there with my 2 little babies. One was 6 weeks old and Alexander was 2. And they were both co-sleeping with me at the time. And I would just plug my earbuds in once they both fell asleep. And I would do quantum shifts, shift after shift after shift of clearing the trauma inside my body using this program called Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program by Melanie Tanya Evans. And I did that for every single day, 2 times a day if I could, or more. Sometimes I did more until I went back to work. So it was like 18 months about approximately of doing that. And then I became the strongest person that no narcissist could mess with anymore. Because a narcissist is just going to affect your weaknesses and your wounds, and they know what they are and they know exactly how to trigger you. So now I look at triggers like a gift. Oh yeah, thank you for showing me that. That's where I need to go now, with like going a little deeper there into the shadow work and clearing those energies myself. And this is how I help other people, right? It's through mirroring exercises, through coaching, with quantum healing, removing those traumas out of your body. So yeah, and then after that was 18 months. Then I bought a house of my own and I started owning my own little side business. Well, I'm still nursing Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Then I do this on the side. When my little kids are in bed, I was studying different things, somatic breathwork. I did the Quantum Queen Rising program with Zarina, which was life-changing experience for me. I learned, what else? I started studying with a shamanic teacher. Her name is, she's at Rainbow Lodge in Cambridge. Her name is Marianne Hawthorne. So I learned journeying and soul retrieval and extraction. And I'm just always learning and growing. I think it just doesn't stop. I really believe that we're just, scratching the surface sometimes. Yeah, really. And reading all the time. And then I studied the Tao. So I'm a level 3 Tao practitioner.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. Her mom should be here any minute. Oh, you're tired. I know. Just rest into me.
No, look at her rubbing her eyes. Poor little butter.
I know. Come here.
Rayleigh.
Briella.
Oh, Briella. Oh, my goodness. I've got a block there. I can never remember that name.
That's okay. Just think of like Ella, but she's a Briella.
With a Brie on the front.
Briella.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of my path is I could see some parallels between us because I kind of the same thing. I back then I wasn't probably into the spiritual end of things as much as you at that age. But yeah, by 29, I bought my first house on my own. I was a single mother, and I was going to college in the evening as well as working full time, going to college as a legal assistant, and doing that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, it's just, you can see a lot of parallels, it's the same thing for me. There was a lot of things coming at me back then. And with the book that I wrote, when I'm going through and I'm writing about a lot of different things, it's funny how you look at it and you go, dummy.
No.
Just kidding around, obviously. Nothing bad, but thinking, why didn't I see that? Like, what the heck? I guess I was just too involved in everything and, just didn't see it. So it kept coming until, so yeah, those lessons. They do. They don't leave until you have actually witnessed them and you have seen them and you make the corrections. So you have a lot of different modalities. I know the somatic breathwork we'll get into a little bit further down the road here, because I know that's truly become your passion, with helping people, and I have witnessed it, and you connect so deeply when you're doing that work, and it comes so easily to you. You know, you can see it flowing. I mean, I've been able to witness it, and it's very flowing, very strong and deep methods that you're using that you can see coming right through you. It's beautiful. So we'll get into that. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other modalities, because some that may not resonate so much with some. And it'd be nice to know the other things that you do as well, because maybe people could do a few things in combination with. Right? So you've got your quantum healing, the hypnosis therapy. Of course, my friend Hans, as you know, he does that as well.
Oh, really? That's so cool. I didn't know that.
He does. He's offering that, actually, the retreat that I'm holding on Manitoulin this summer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he'll be doing that. That's kind of an option, one of the optional services that will be on the side. But yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that does?
You got the bird going and the baby going.
Oh, I know, that bird. I'm telling you, I'm bothering everybody. Sorry if it is. It's been one of those things today. I don't know. I've never heard her. Solar flares. That's all I can say. I don't know. She's never this, and this is quiet. Like, she was just giving her all day.
She's lost her voice.
I don't know. Well, she's not happy with me because she's usually out and off and on with everything going on. She's been in her cage more often than not, so she's not really happy with me. But anyways, so the QHHT. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how does that help people?
So first, I just want to give kudos to Dolores Cannon, because Dolores Cannon is the creator of QHHT, and she was the first hypnotherapist to do past lives, because it was a big no-no to go in that part of the brain back then. So she was a pioneer of this. In the 1940s, she was working with war veterans to help them with trauma, and going in and doing hypnotherapy with them, and then started tapping into past lives and what is this? Whoa. And then source, or higher source, or whatever. There's many layers: the oversoul, the higher self, the source. You could get anyone from any of those high frequencies are coming in and healing the person while they're under hypnotherapy. That's why it's a healing modality. Not just a past life regression, because you could go to someone and get a past life regression, but QHHT, you're also connecting and able to ask questions on behalf of the client lying there of what it is that they want to know in their life. So how it works is you would come for a session and you're together here's her mommy. There you go. Who's that? There you go. For 4 to 6 hours at least.
Bye, Briella.
Can you turn my light on? Thank you. Awesome. There you go. So yeah, the first part is the interview. So the person would come and I just hold space and they share with me their entire life story. Whenever do we do that? Right? You can go to talk therapy and share, but it's not all in one session. This is all in one go. And that in itself, a lot of people feel a relief. Yeah. And then we make some connections of or seeing patterns that were happening in their life. Just in that interview. We're not even doing the healing yet, therapy yet.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we're just talking. But when people are sharing, they're releasing, right? You know that. So then after that, then I regress them using Dolores Cannon's technique. So that takes about 15 minutes to get them under. And then we go into 1 to 3 lives. People visit the future, the past, parallel lives can happen. Wherever they're going to go, it all makes sense for them at the end. It's just amazing how it just comes together. Then after we visit the lives, then we contact what we call the subconscious, but it's not subconscious like in psych, like what people learn in psych, like it's a different psychiatry. I mean, it's a different subconscious. It's like I said, it could be the oversoul or source itself or your higher self. You're connecting with something higher than you. And then it goes into the body and starts to heal their body with whatever it is that they need. And then we ask questions. So people get answers to things that they've wanted to know. Like a lot of people ask, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? I'm in a crossroads. I don't know which way to go, whatever. People have miraculous healing. And then the work happens after. It's the integration that's the key. Because I have had people come back and say, you know what, this one girl left my house walking without her cane. She forgot her cane at my house. Then she remembered, oh my God, my cane, and now my knee hurts again. And I'm like, well, did you listen to the recording? No. Did you do the things that they told you to do to help you keep this healed? Because otherwise it's just going to come back. Because our bodies are always communicating with us. Our bodies are our biggest communicator. And it's your body that will tell you what's going on. Because like, not necessarily like, oh, like it's my knee, so it's because of this. It might be something deeper than that. Like, what does the knee do? We need to look at it at a different lens, like the quantum lens. But they get the information of why it actually is there. And they tell them exactly how to heal it and to keep it away. So sometimes people, if they don't do their work, it will come back. But if you do the work, I have people reach out to me like a year later being like, you're not going to believe this. Like all the things that happened that day that they said was going to happen is happening. I'm like, I believe it. I watch it over and over. I've regressed over 160 people. And maybe like 5 people I couldn't get under because their ego is just too much and you can't get past the ego.
Yeah.
And then a couple of them, they're not doing the work, but the rest of them, they reach out to me and it's like amazing things are happening for them. So it's a beautiful way to connect to your higher self and make that connection. And a lot of people after their session, they can connect themselves. And the thing is, we're always connecting. They just don't realize that they're doing it.
Right.
Everyone has a channel and everyone's doing it. They just don't realize that they're doing it.
Yeah, well, and that's why we do what we do, is that guidance, right?
You got it.
To that place and be a little more, it's a little more informative, and it's more clarification in terms of what's actually happening. Even though they're, a lot of times not cognizant, and then all of a sudden this stuff starts to happen and it's like, well, this is why, right? So what about, you've got your complete cellular mind-body alignment, the CCMBA.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
So that is from Dr. Sharon Forrest, and kudos to her because she received, similar to you in your EFL, she received EFL or ETL? Did I say that right? ETL. So similar how you received that guidance, like you're supposed to do this and you received that.
Yeah.
Same with her. She was sitting in meditation and received this like light code type thing, a download saying, this is how you're going to heal people. And then you're going to show other people how to do this. So when I met her, I went and there was 20 people at this workshop. And we're sitting there and she just implanted in all of us. And then we just went and you just put one hand on the forehead, the third eye, and one hand at the mouth of God at the back of the neck. We say a prayer. The person says the prayer and it's all about intention. And then all of a sudden shit happens. I get really hot. That's what happens for me. I can feel it flowing and it's like waves of energy and I get so hot. I almost want to be like naked and do it because I am like sweating and it's so hot. Like Reiki, when I do Reiki, I get really hot too, but this is like another level of hot. And what's happening with the CCMBA is, as you know, our cells hold all of our memories. And it's from our past lives, from this life, from our ancestors. So this is clearing out whatever needs to be cleared out of the cellular memory. So I don't know exactly how it works. It's just light. And the person can experience 75% of people experience nothing. They just feel nice and relaxed after. And they may like have frequent urination for the next 24 hours because they're flushing out their system.
Yep.
Another 10% of people will have a form of expression. So crying or yelling or laughing even has happened. 5% of people get stigmata. So like there'll be like imprints on their hand, or I've even seen one person have this like mark around their neck. So they clearing out some kind of trauma from a past life. Shaking. I've seen one woman act like a bear before, so it must have been a bear life that she had.
Maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah, I've had some clients that are very visual, so they're having like almost like they're dreaming the whole time, and they're seeing all these different images and like they're vivid dreaming. So what this does is it's just a clearing of the DNA, RNA, and cellular level. And always people feel very relaxed afterwards. So it's a beautiful modality, and it takes about 60 to 90 minutes. And it's just all energy and light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny with that type of stuff, even with like you were talking about the stuff that I've had come in and presented to me and what to do and that type of thing. You know, it's one of those things that it's interesting when you're working with the different levels of spirituality with people, you know, because typically what I've experienced so far, it has not been a long time I've been doing that, but, you know, I find that the people that are just kind of on that path, starting and opening up, are often the ones that don't experience a whole lot. It's working, and this is what you have to, you know, let them know it's okay. You know what? It doesn't mean nothing's going on. Same with Reiki, right? You may never do anything. You may, you know, it doesn't mean it's not working. It's working. It's all happening. You're just not seeing it like others might see it. And then you get into the different levels of spirituality and people that are open, and you see the different dynamic and how they receive it and what comes to them, you know, it can be so vast, you know, from here to here.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like just about an opening, right? It's about being open, opening and opening. And the more you keep surrendering and opening, the more you're going to experience. And I'll talk a little bit about that more with the breathwork piece too, because you did see someone who is going through the one you witnessed when we were working together with the breathwork. Like he had a very amazing experience. Yes. But some people with breathwork, they just breathe for an hour. They don't get that cathartic release, right? And it's again because of the surrendering and trusting and believing and like going with it and allowing yourself to feel that. So
no, exactly. It's like I said, it's amazing the many differences in the modalities that we all share. And, you know, that seems to be a common denominator in different aspects of what we do. It just depends on where people are on their path in terms of what they actually, I mean, it's all working, it's all doing what it needs to do, but just to what people actually are cognizant and see, hear, feel, you know, the differences as opposed to some that may not at all. It's really interesting. Now, what about your AR? I'm not sure if I know how to say that properly. Axiational realignment. Okay, there you go. See,
it's all good. You're learning tonight too.
I am. I always do.
Axiatonal realignment. Usually I do this in combination with Reiki, but I can do it by itself. But it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, a very quick treatment. So what it is it's opening up all the chakras, not just the 7, but many more. So there's like in your hands, in your feet, in your ankles, in your knees, in your thighs, in your belly, in your arms, in your shoulders, in your head. So I'm activating and opening up every single chakra, clearing out whatever is ready to be cleared in that moment. And then I'm connecting them to the Earth Star. So it's the cord that connects you to the Earth It's called the Earth Star in this type of modality. It's used in many different names and different things, but for this one, it's called the Earth Star. And it's a cord that runs from your heart, down your spine, down your legs, out your feet, down into the earth. Because we are here having an earth experience, we need to be grounded into the earth. And we can, when that channel, a lot of the time, people, if they have trauma or they have experiences in their life where they don't want to feel their body, they will disconnect from it. And so this reconnects them back to the Earth Star. And then your soul star, which is your connection to your higher self, your higher being, your oversoul. And again, we call it the soul star. So it connects you to soul star, earth star. And again, people can become disconnected from their higher self, from their higher being. So basically, I'm replugging them back in, realigning everything, opening it all back up. And that's what oxytonal realignment is in a nutshell. Again, it's energy, not me. I'm just the channel, and it's all in a very like sequence. Also, there's like lines all in your face, and there's lines in your body too. And I open up all the lines, the oxytonal lines. So it's kind of like meridians. Very similar to meridians. Yeah, it's really cool and it's really fast. When I had it done the first time, it felt like I was spinning, and it was my Merkaba. My Merkaba was going woo, and it was just like aligning my energies in my Merkaba.
Yeah, we still have to have discussions about the visions I was seeing when we were working together that day.
Merkaba, I know.
Still sitting with that.
It comes up a lot, the Merkaba for me. I have this one crystal that I meditate with, and every time I meditate with it, I can feel my Merkaba spinning. So sometimes I'm like, maybe not today. I'm not going to blast off today. But other times I want to go, right? I'm like, woo, let's go.
Most definitely. So, and of course, we spoke a little bit about the shamanic practices that you do, and as a Reiki Master. And that type of thing. What about the Tao Healings? I know we've worked together with you doing that as well. Maybe you can explain a little bit, what you're doing with that.
Okay, so, and Zarina was on here. So Zarina is the one who introduced me to the Tao. So thank you, Zarina.
Yeah, I love Zarina. She's a sweetheart.
She's amazing. So I signed up for the Quantum Queen program. It was all very divinely happening. And Zarina and I've seen our past lives together. So we've had a past life together. But yeah, I was looking for a new mentor. I was like off on stress leave and just going through a lot. It was another reawakening. And I was like, I need a new teacher. And my teacher, Stephen Jaggers, he's my mentor for breathwork. He wasn't able to start teaching until January. And it was in October that I was like off. And I was like, no, I need something now. Like I'm off work. I want to make the most of my time. And so all of a sudden, as I put that out to the universe, all of a sudden, Zarina's like masterclass popped up as an ad on my friend Farron's Instagram. And I was like, oh, it's this. Oh, I have 5 days this week. I'm going to do that. So I did her masterclass. And on the first day, she did a Tao blessing. When she did the Tao blessing, my entire body started vibrating, and like, I could see all this light, and I could see all these waves of light and all this stuff happening. I'm like, oh, I am so intrigued by this. So then I signed up for the Quantum Queen program, and I did the 6 months. And then after the 6 months, because part of it, you're not doing the Tao, like you don't have your Tao healing hands, but you're doing the practices without that.
Right.
And so I already memorized, because I'm doing them every single day, sometimes 5 times a day I was doing these practices. And I was like, I should just do this just for my own healing, even to become a Tao healing hands practitioner. It's helped me and benefited me so much. So I took the course and got my level 3. It took about 4 months to do that. And what the Tao does is you are clearing karma at a soul level, because the soul is the boss. So the soul communicates to the heart. Your heart is your message center. It communicates to your mind, and then your mind creates your energy in your life, your matter. So when you're using the Tao, again, it's like an ignition that you receive, just like the Reiki, just like the CCMBA. So it's like we can all do this. You just need the switch to be turned on by a master, right? So the switch was turned on. My master teacher is Vanessa and Alexia on, oh gosh, Aligned. I can't remember what their name is. Anyways, if people want to know that, they can just ask me. I'll get it to them, or it will come to me. Anyway, so you receive that ignition. And then when that happened, I could feel it in my back, like back chakra just being like pushed. So when you do Tao with someone, you can do it mostly for yourself to clear your own karma at a soul level. And it's important to do this at least twice a day, because we're always accumulating more karma, right? Hopefully great karma. I mean, I am very conscious of what I give out to the world, because whatever we give out, we will receive back. And so if we're giving negative information in our field, you're going to accumulate more negative information. And so karma works like a bank account. So when you're making other people healthier and happier, your karma is going up into the balances, and you're going to receive more blessings. If you are creating difficulties for someone or being negative, even talking badly, and about yourself, like even, you know, sometimes we catch ourselves saying bad things. Well, you're just creating more negative information in your field. We are all intertangled souls together, and we are all doing this together. And as I raise and heal myself, I'm also healing the world.
So,
where did I get cut off?
So we left off. You were talking about the Tao healing hands, and then and that type of thing. I kind of just did a little talk about some of the other things you're doing, and we're getting a little low on time. So I did mention the author and artist, and you know, doing the womb clearing and cord removals and that type of thing. But let's get into the somatic breath work at this point, because I know that's the one thing you really, they're all passions of yours, but that's a big passion, right? Yeah, Jeffrey, technology, it happens when it needs to happen. I never always understand why, but it's no questioning. It is what it is. We go with it. He had just mentioned, don't you love when technology gives us a difficult time? Sometimes it's just, you need that breather, right, Monica? Just a little bit of time for a minute.
I was like, oh, you're frozen, because it kept time for me. So I was like, oh, Leah's frozen. And I was like, oh, I'll just keep talking. And I'm like talking. And I'm like, Leah, you're frozen. You're like, no, you are. I'm like, oh, no.
So,
somatic
let's talk about the somatic breath work, because I know that's something I've watched you. You're very powerful with your breath work. You're great with everything you do. But the breath work I have witnessed you doing, and it's so smooth. It flows so easily for you. And the strength of that modality it's beautiful. So you take it away. You talk a little bit about what you do and how it works.
Okay, yes. So somatic breath work, my teacher was Stephen Jaggers and Andrew Fisher, and they live in Arizona. So I did this virtually. I learned it over 12 weeks, and it was the first online group that they did. But I had been watching somatic breathwork for a while, and then I had tried it on my own virtual session. I was doing this 21-day Raise Your Vibrational Challenge,
right?
In 1 days, and I just like, whoa, like you have a cathartic experience where you're like crying, screaming, releasing trauma that's in your body. Like we were talking about before, trauma is in our body. It's stored in our cells. It's stuck in there, and we just keep suppressing it unless we're like clearing it ourselves, or through a guide, or through whatever modality is going to help us to release that. A lot of people say that doing one breathwork session is like 10 years of talk therapy. And I'm not putting down talk therapy, and you can only talk so much, and you can get deep with really great practitioners, but this is stored stuff in our body. So soma, like somatic, is the soma. Soma is your body. And it's where we stuff stuff. We stuff down our emotions. Anger. Think about anger. How many times as a child or even as an adult did you feel angry and didn't express it? You just push it down. Sadness. When we cry and you get that thing in your throat and you just swallow it down. It's got to go somewhere. Even sexual energy. When we have not allowed ourselves to express our desires, our wants, our needs, or allowed ourselves to express how we're feeling sexually. Our society is very suppressed in many ways. And what somatic breathwork does is you go into a rhythmic breathing along with very powerful music that will bring a cathartic experience. Kind of like when you're an animal running in the woods, being chased by a predator, right? You're getting into that state of fight or flight. So you're putting your nervous system into that state so that expression, you got to let it out. It's coming up. It's very intense, but it is very powerful. And we do that for 3 rounds of breath. And then we also have breath holds in between there. And when people are holding their breath, they can experience a DMT release. So DMT, as you know, you can probably speak to DMT better than I can, but it's a visual journeying type of experience. People have seen the future. They've gone to source. Their third eye starts to open. Many different things can happen in those breath holds. Then the second half is so gentle, and it's all about slowing down the breath and getting into the other side of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest part of our nervous system. So we relax now. We're repatterning the nervous system because you've now created all the space in your body because you've had these emotional releases, you've released stress, you've released pressure, you've released all this stuff. So now you've got all this space. So what the client can do ahead of time, we have an intention. What do you want to bring in? What do you want to feel in your body? What do you want to feel? And so that most of the time people say love, peace, clarity, freedom, harmony, all those beautiful feelings, those high frequency vibrations, right? And so now we're slowing down the breath. We're using a different type of breath, and we are allowing ourselves to feel good. And we're filling up those cells now with all this light, all this love. And it's a beautiful relaxation. And most of the time people leave feeling so relaxed, so restored, refreshed. A lot of times people get clarity on things in their life that maybe they need to make changes now. It's amazing. So it's tapping into your body, getting out of the mind, getting into your body, using your breath to help you clear out what's in the way of you feeling good in your life. It's very powerful.
It is, as I said, that client that I had, and in the program, you were doing the breath work throughout the program that I was doing. As I said, it was, you could see, I could actually see as you were working with him, you could actually connect and see and feel what was happening as he was doing it. And the release, it was so deep, right? I mean, that was a powerful day for him and for releases. It was yes. Most definitely. He had a lot of those going on. But yeah, I mean, people don't realize, even with all of the different modalities with breath, right? Mm-hmm. Breath is without breath, we don't live, right?
That's right. Breath is life.
But it's so much deeper than just breathing to live. There is so much more connection and so many more things that go on with breath work.
So deep.
It's a permeation of our being that, needs to be expressed. It needs to be worked with. It's a really, really important part of who we are.
Oh, absolutely. It's everything that we are. Right?
Exactly.
It's how we connect.
So many ways.
And I really connect with people, like you saw, very deeply, because I first need to be my own clear vessel. So I continue to do breath work every 2 weeks. Like our teacher runs every 2 weeks for all the practitioners all around the world. And I just did it on Sunday. There was 90 people from all over the world were there just to keep our
Beautiful.
own vessel clear. Because if I'm not clear, I can't be of service in the best way to the people I'm like guiding and helping to have their own experience.
Right.
And I think that's key for all of us who are working with other people. We need to have our own clear channel and our own clear body and our own. My son's going to bed. And he's like, "Can you come give me a kiss when you're done?"
We're almost there, kiddo.
Yeah, and like people, and I was saying to you at the beginning how I was at a session on the weekend, and it was a group of 5 women, and the one has had breath work before, and the other 4 have never done it before, and they're very new to being spiritually awake, right? Like they're just starting to wake up. They're like little babies, you know. And for them, they didn't have any type of expression at all. And I remember when I first was a practitioner messaging my teacher saying, "Oh my God, I had a client and they didn't do any expressing. Like, what am I doing wrong?" And he was like, "Nothing, Monica. They are in your field and they're breathing consciously for 1 hour. That is huge, because a lot of the time, people don't even know how you can connect to your body. So these people were learning how to just connect to their body. Get out of your mind, get into your body, just breathe for 1 hour like that. Like, so powerful. And they all felt amazing when they left, you know. So it's not always about the expression either. I have had a session like myself where I did that's not true. I did a little bit of expressing, but not as much. But I had so much other stuff going on. Like I was getting downloads, I was seeing all these things. So it's not always about the expression. And many, many clients that I've had have that as well, where they're not expressing, but at the end, when we're all sharing their experience, they were having really like out there, amazing, beautiful like experiences that are out of this world, right? Like other dimensional stuff going on. So it can help.
It's a very connective space to be in doing breath work. You know, it's like I said, you know, and this is when I do each one of these shows, you know, it's you think that you know a lot about certain things, or at the very least you know about them. You may not know a lot about them, you know, but it never ceases to amaze me with each one of these shows. There's always like the axiotonal. Did I say that right this time? There we go. Yeah. The axiotonal realignment. I've never heard of that. You know, like again, there's something new again, you know, in terms of my experience of learning other things that I didn't even know you did that. I didn't know what it was, never heard of it. Right. So there you go. You know, it never ceases to amaze me when we're doing this stuff that, you know, it's really interesting. The different things, you know, just when you think, it never ceases to fail that, you know, how much has opened up across the world, you know, with how many different things are available. Now, back when I was, you know, I'm almost 60, but I mean, you know, when I look back 20 years ago, if any of this existed, I'm sure it did, but it wasn't vast and it wasn't well known. So, you know, you actually think, you know, I know quite a bit about what's available out there, you know, as I've grown up and I've seen all these things and heard things, and in the field that I'm in, you know, there's always, and then you go, okay, I really don't know anything at all. Because I'm learning just like everybody else.
We're all learning, yeah. I do want to share a little bit, if it's okay, because the womb clearing, because it's also something that I received a download from Spirit to do it this certain way that I do it. And so I know other people do womb clearings as well, but this I got downloaded after a journey weekend. I received so many downloads. And I've done lots of workshops with it, and I can do it virtually and in person. And same with breath. A lot of the stuff I do can be either. But anyways, what that is like we store a lot of energy in our womb, right? Even men, they have what's called the hara. which is the energy space, the same thing as the womb. It's where men create their realities. So this, again, is all like about the cellular level. We are storing all the past lives, all the experiences that we've ever had in our womb. So this is our place of creation. And it ends up being a dumping ground a lot of the time for emotions, negative thoughts, especially for women who, you know, they're like, oh, I got my period. And there's this negative thing towards the womb. So womb clearing is I do it energetically and with breath work. So I combine the two things together, and the person does it themselves, and we use affirmations, and it's so amazing and it's so powerful. I've had people say that they feel like a woman again, or they feel like all their creative energy again and their passion, and it's just awesome. So I just wanted to share that because it does, I do kind of like with the breath as well to clear out what's there. And then we bring in again what you want to feel there.
Awesome. So we're getting tight on time here. I keep muting because my parrot has decided she would like a piece of this conversation.
Yes. She's so like, you're talking about
me? A little hard on anybody's ears. She's been like this all day. I said, I don't know if it's the solar flares, because she doesn't usually, she's talkative, but not in the loud, annoying that can be, I don't know if I want to call it annoying, but it's just, it's overpowering if other people, if you're on the phone or, you know, whatever, it can be difficult for others. But anyways, it was awesome having you here.
Thank you so
I am going to include, as I always do, on the video when it is rendered and put up. We'll have all of your links on that, as well as when the post is created. I always make sure the links are included in that. For anybody watching, please do reach out to Monica. Yeah, she's very good at what she's done, at what she does. And as mentioned, you know, she's been doing this for a very long time. She's been connecting since a young girl. Yeah, I've witnessed the work, and it can be very profound. And we've got more work coming up. You and I've got an event coming up the second weekend, I believe, of April.
Yeah, April 15th. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be doing our more stuff together.
Oh yeah, I see many more times together.
Oh, I figure we will be, even when I move. Well, I'm not that far away, so we'll definitely work that out. So yes, so for everybody listening and watching, please do reach out to Monica. And you know, sometimes you don't not even sure what it is. Just reach out and talk to her. She can help you to resonate with what it is you need, just through a conversation.
Yep, I do discovery calls, so they're free, 15-minute discovery calls.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for being here with us, Jeffrey. I'm so happy you were here. It doesn't always happen, so we're honored that you were able to join us. Thank you so much. And anybody else that's here, that's, you know, that watches this, following this, and I will talk with you soon, Monica.
Okay.
Lots of love to everybody, and yeah. Any last words before we hang up the call, so to speak?
No, just thank you so much for doing this. Like I said at the beginning, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful how our paths have crossed and how I'm now in this beautiful community. Thank you, Jeffrey, for creating this. And just thank you to Divine. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And Jeffrey said, thanks. It was great to be here. You know, and he enjoys the events as well, because I think he has some takeaways once in a while too, because if he doesn't get to join us live, he often does get to see them. He takes the time at some point. He does watch them after the fact with the replay. So anybody that misses this and you see this, thank you for watching at that point as well. And again, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with somebody else as well. And be careful, be safe. Lots of love and gratitude to all of you. And we'll see you again on the flip side.
Okay.